I want to welcome to the microphone Molly Robbins, youth activist and human rights worker.
Thank you to everybody who's speaking today. I'm going to be brief. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about young people. There's not a ton of them here today. And about the big picture a little bit more. Because I think all the time about this younger generation and their conception of our nation. How do young people conceive of the United States of America and what it's built on and how it works? And I've found that in speaking to a lot of them, many young Americans don't have a real sense of that. But more importantly, they don't have a sense of how drastically that's changed in recent years. And I just want to really encourage everyone to reflect on that, and to reflect on that with young people that you know. There may be signs here today, I've seen them in a lot of other places, that say, "The America I know doesn't torture." And the norm against torture, as we've heard, has been strong since the founding of this nation. But the America that today's youth knows does torture. And it detains and tortures innocent people, wiretaps citizens without warrants, and lets unprecedented reaches of executive power slide, all in the name of security. So now we have a former president whose administration is guilty and has now admitted to war crimes, and a current president who's avoiding any steps toward accountability, while enjoying all of the benefits of expanded executive power that presidents before him have put in place. And that is the America young people know. That's not good. And as many of us have said today here, though, this is not about Bush, really, and it's not about Obama. It's about the fact that the system that allowed this torture to take place is still in place, and it needs to be changed. We just concluded a midterm election season in which so many candidates espouse the importance of returning to traditional constitutional values. We hear these things all the time. What did our forefathers fight for? What have our American soldiers fought and died for? And I think that, one second, whether you're interpreting the Constitution very literally or very broadly, the point stands that if there's any place that we've departed from those values, it's in the weakening of this system of checks and balances that's at the heart of the American Republic. And that's what has allowed these abuses to happen and to continue. As we've also heard today, one of the biggest hurdles in the way of making those guilty of torture accountable is this idea that it's looking backwards. There are countless polls that show that Americans oppose torture. The majority of Americans oppose torture, but half or a little less than half of Americans approve of an investigation into these abuses of torture we've seen recently. There's just this idea that discussing it is counterproductive, or that it's dwelling on the past, and we have so many more important things to look at and worry about. But I really believe, and I think we all really believe, that confronting these abuses and demanding accountability is the only way that we can move forward towards an America that's a moral example to the rest of the international community. How can we take a stand on any international human rights issues when our heads of state have authorized or condoned acts of torture, flouted international law, and we have done nothing about it? Just this morning, actually, the UN is calling for an investigation into the abuses by the Bush administration, and by not supporting that investigation, we're perpetuating not just our hypocrisy, but the ill will that these abuses have engendered all over the world. So more than that, though, as I said, we're handing over to our youth an America that does nothing to reflect on or seek justice for our wrongdoings. And so it's much bigger than Bush, it's much bigger than Obama, and it really comes down to each of us. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Molly Robbins. All right, last